I love when a sequel happens and nobody remembers the sequel, especially our movies that were huge deals. There wasn't a movie bigger than Basic Instinct when it came out back in 1992, but Basic Instinct 2, Risk Addiction, you have to say the full title, it came out in 2006.
Her prints were all over the crime scene.
We haven't got a case, Roy.
Well, just make one. We'll order a psychiatrist to say she's a danger. Gotta make sure we get somebody good and tough.
Dr. Glass, this is Catherine Trunell.
So is this where we're going to do it?
Which is a long time from 1992. You may also remember that when it comes to weird sequels that take a long time, they're often troubled productions. MGM had planned for this movie to come out in 2002, still late, but a little, better, but then decided they had no interest in making the movie. And then Sharon Stone filed a lawsuit saying she was guaranteed at least $14 million, even if the movie never got made, and as much as 15% of gross receipts if the film was made. By 2004, the lawsuit was settled, and director Michael Catton Jones, who did Doc Hollywood, The Jackal, a movie where a bleach blonde Bruce Willis shoots Jack Black, and Memphis Belle, spoiler warning on The Jackal, got the job. He was broke and needed to make a movie, but called making this movie a poisoned chalice. Instead, it was horrible, and I knew before I started it wasn't going to be a particularly good film, which is a very, very painful thing.
Basic Instinct 2.
I feel like a cigarette.
We start out in London, where novelist and possible serial killer, no spoiler, Catherine Trunell, is using a passed-out soccer player's hand to get herself off while speeding through the streets, finally crashing into the Thames River, which I know is the Thames from the beginning of Benny Hill. It was at this point that I began laughing uncontrollably as the athlete gazes upon Trunell like she's some kind of vision and just drowns while she swims away. It turns out that soccer star was all goofed up and couldn't even move, but Scotland Yard is unable to make any charges stick. But now she has to report to court-ordered sessions with Dr. Michael Glass, played by David Morrissey, who she of course sleeps with and starts writing about for her new novel, a story in which real people all around them are being killed, both in prose and real-life ways. Unlike the original movie, which seems to only hint at the fact that Trunell is a killer or can manipulate anyone into doing what she wants, in this one it's beyond obvious, and there's even a square-up reel at the end showing all the murders and how she talked Dr. Michael Glass into it. I kind of love the reasons why no man was good enough for this movie. Michael Douglas, too old. Robert Downey Jr., possession charges. Kurt Russell didn't want to strip down. Pierce Brosnan, no sleeves for him. Bruce Greenwood, potential actor strike. Rupert Everett, called a pervert who American audiences wouldn't accept by the CEO of MGM. Benjamin Bratt, Sharon Stone didn't think he was a good actor. Let that sit in. By the way, if you ever spend inordinate time around me, as my wife does, anytime I fart or burp, I say, "Oh, Benjamin Bratt," instead of "excuse me." I don't know why. That's what I call a burp. It's just, "Oh my God, Benjamin Bratt." Anytime you hear me say that, you're like, "Wow, I can't believe Sam brought him up." That's why. Anyway, remember when Nigel Tufnell from Spinal Tap said,
What's wrong with being sexy?
I kept hearing that same question throughout this movie, but it's just a cavalcade of shocking scenes that by 2006 were no longer shocking. I mean, we got the internet. We got to see a lot of stuff. This is the kind of movie that demanded be made by someone demented, someone willing to tell Sharon Stone she'd have to dress like a cat and urinate in a litter box on camera or fart in jars and sell them to people if she wanted to shock somebody now. Instead, her scene of knowingly looking into another man's eyes while engaging in an orgy is positively quaint.
I believe Mr. Trunell's behavior is driven by what we might call a risk addiction.
It's like finding out that your mom's best friend is a swinger. You're not all that surprised and you really don't want to know the details or see the pictures, but you can be happy for her. You can wish her well. Speaking of that, Sharon Stone wanted to make a third one and even offered to direct. Please, somebody, let's kickstart this. Let's make it happen. There is a comic book that's out now, a Basic Instinct comic book. Can you believe it? And it is all about an anonymous artist who draws their inspiration from famous murders, has opened their newest exhibit surrounding the now infamous Ice Pick murder centered around Catherine Trunell. However, when a security guard of the exhibit is murdered on its opening night, the art director responsible for the opening is thrust into an investigation that forces him to question his own involvement. And that is available from Sumerian Comics, which is putting out some really cool stuff. This is not an ad for them, but I've actually been buying some of their stuff because they have an American Psycho comic. a new Crow comic, a Fog comic, and Hotline Miami, the video game, a Girl Walks Home Alone at Night comic. So if you're into movies, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming from this company. Anyways, how can we make Basic Instinct 3 happen? I'm working on it. But, you know, there's a Showgirls 2 as well, and nobody talks about that. We need more sequels to movies that people don't expect that suddenly come out of nowhere, and you're like, why are we getting this? Who asked for it? I'm asking for it. Anyway, this is Sam from BNS About Movies. You can reach out to me at bnsaboutmovies@gmail.com. Visit the website, BNS About Movies, and there's a coffee there, and you can donate. If you donate, tell me what movie you'd like me to talk about. I will do it on an upcoming episode. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.